Hello, beloved twin flames. Namaste. This is Stephanie Parasha, Divine Light, coming out to you from India. And this is probably about the best lighting I am able to get right now, I'm afraid. So I do apologize. I know it looks a little bit scratchy, but hopefully you can hear me and that I can get this message out to you today. So, yeah, just a little energetic update. With a few tips and a bit of a pep talk for twin flames specifically. That is the main work that I do, is relating to twin flames, as I myself am on the twin flame journey as discovered in 2015. And I think I started doing these videos probably about a year after that, about 2016, when I got this massive big push from Spirit. I was already very much on my spiritual path, and have been probably since I came to India 22 years ago. And, it's been a development ever since then. As we know, it can take lifetimes to develop spiritually. So, and I'm just, I am where I am on the journey. So what did I want to talk about? Yeah. So I was kind of spurred into doing this video because I've been getting a lot of downloads and upgrades recently over the last few days. So what that means is a lot of dreams. Specifically, I've had a couple of very close dreams with my twin and myself energetically connecting in. He's just gone through something quite major for him in the last week, and I had been supporting him energetically for that, in terms of, we were communicating about what was going on for him energetically, but he also came in to my dream time around that time needing more support. So that was just awesome to connect with him on that level as well, which has been really amazing. And we have both felt so different about our connection since I moved away, which is kind of really weird, but twin flames, this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this video actually, was how opposite things are. It's kind of for twin flames, it's like everything completely gets twisted around and flipped upside down in the way that we would normally do things. So for example, the standardized way when you meet people nowadays, for most people, for the mainstream, is pretty much on the internet. Tinder, let's go out on a date. How do I look? Do I look amazing? Do they like me? Do they not like me? Have they sent me a text? Are they kissing me? Are we going to have sex? It's all very much about external, physical, concrete kind of things that are going on. So most of the people in the mainstream, sorry, this is a really big generalization, are not really considering how things are going energetically. So there's this small number of us that have discovered that we're twin flames, and our job has been to understand the energetics, the emotions, the spirituality, the energetic connection that goes on a higher plane between us and our twin flames, which completely affects our physical interactions with each other. So yeah, so that's why the energy is often talked about as being so very important. So again, another part of the twin flame mission and journey and connection is about balancing out polarities. So wherever there's been a polarity, like I just noticed there was another polarity between my twin and I in terms of energetically where we're geographically placed, and also culturally as well, in terms of the East and the West. Now that may look like, again, that it's happening, there's a polarity between the East and the West, but I'm not saying one twin has to be in the East and the other one has to be in the West, and that creates the balance. Remembering that we also each individually are a whole, so we're also balancing out those polarities within ourselves individually as well, and then we connect together as two balanced wholes and complement each other. So it's not about one twin being one end of the seesaw and the other twin being the other end of the seesaw, and that creates the balance. I think some people may get a little confused about that. So that's just something I've noticed about being born in the West in a Western country, yet feeling very connected to an Eastern country, and within myself, creating a balance of both of those cultures and sort of the religions and the, how everything is so different, and yet there's a sweet spot in the middle. Another one of the polarities that we're balancing out, obviously, is the masculine and the feminine. Again, people get confused and think one twin's the masculine, the other one's the feminine, and one has to be one or the other, and those two come into balance. Remembering that we're each individually a whole, and we've got the feminine and the masculine in both the twins that are becoming balanced. Then we come together as two balanced wholes, creating a complementary energy for each other. Another polarity that's being balanced out is between the heart and the mind. So part of our cultures, or the ways in which that our communities have operated, have been predominantly through the mind, and the mind has overridden the heart and the emotions as being the more predominant way of living and the more culturally acceptable way of conducting our lives. Science has overridden, and logic has overridden, intuition and the heart. And so again, a part of the twin flames job is to come into balance there as well. Another thing that I'm noticing coming up for twin flames is around the, again, when we find our twin flame, we get so excited and we think, this is it, I found the one and I love them and we're going to be together and it's all going to be wonderful. And then of course what happens is that whatever is not true, authentic, divine, unconditional love gets basically thrown up and caused, it becomes a trigger, it becomes an emotional problem in the union, and it shows up and as a fear in the union. So an example is often, again, we've got that dynamic where one twin is super keen and coming towards the other, and the other twin's kind of not sure and they're freaking out a bit and they move away. And so because of the other dynamic of the twin flame pairing, where we're a mirror for each other, we're reflecting equal and opposite actions and reactions. So where that's happening, this twin that's chasing or going towards the other twin has to learn to balance out and come back into their own space, because what they're doing is they've left themselves behind over here and they're trying to seek validation and love from outside of themselves. So again, coming back into what's one of the major parts of the twin flame is self-loving, not needing that love from outside of ourselves. And also, again, the other trap that we've fallen into, many of us, is because of our conditioning and the fairy tales and the TV programs and the movies that we see, is how love is meant to be. This is love, and love has been presented to us, but it's actually kind of a whole lot of mishmash of fears that are being shown to us as this is love. The fears being fear of abandonment. So let's tie people up in a marriage contract and say, you're not going to leave me. That's not really love. That is fear of abandonment. Another one is your dependency. So needing that other person, needing them to be there for you and having an expectation. So that is a fear of being alone and not having your needs met. So you need to make sure that you hang on to that other person and manipulate them to make sure they give you what you want and meet your needs. That is not love. So wherever these are dynamics of some of the old styles of what we've being presented as a romance, or this is what relationships are, this is what we were trained and taught and shown how to be in relationship from our parents and through society. Twin flames have realized, oh, this is not really how it's going to be. So wherever some of these dynamics are showing up for us, we're being asked to heal them up and clear them up. And it does mean going back for many of us into the core wound of where that is, because what I see a lot of people doing as well is trying to heal the pain of the one of their twin moving away from them or not being with them being triggered into their emotions of pain and fear, and using tools. I'm just going to have to pause for a second. Hold on. Sorry about that. So this is what I was getting to, was the ego. So the ego's been our very wonderful safety tool to help us avoid us going to pain. To help us to survive means pain is not a good thing. So we've created all these wonderful tools that are supposedly going to help us not feel the pain. So, for example, I've seen people do this, and I've done it myself. I'm not trying to shame people for this either, because we were taught that feeling emotions was a really bad thing right from when we were young. So we were shamed and suppressed and told, get over it, or be tough, or what are you doing, screaming your head off? That's not going to solve anything. Okay, so we were definitely taught to steer away from emotions and find techniques that would suppress the emotions, or create a mask on the outside that looked like everything was fine. So what we're discovering is that we can no longer be that mask, and that we're needing to be our true, authentic self. So what I'm seeing showing up for people is that when they're feeling upset or emotional, they're thinking that that's their ego. And so again, we've got a bit of a flip here. They're thinking, oh, my ego's trying to ruin it for me by being emotional. Actually, that is your true self that's trying to have a feeling. It's the ego that's saying you're not allowed to have that feeling. You need to sort it out. So let's just shine some love and light on it, which is another form of kind of denial, even though I talk about love and light. Love and light is one thing. It's great, and it's an amazing healer, but you also need to actually feel and go into the raw and real part of the emotions in order to heal them. So it is actually counterintuitive. It kind of goes against what the ego is fighting for you not to do. It's like, don't go there, don't go into the pain, that's a dangerous place, stay away from there, go into the love and light, and holding on for dear life. But actually what we're really needing to do is totally let go and to trust our emotions, because they're actually unraveling. They were first felt as true emotions of what was happening at the time, but they were suppressed and shut down and held by the body. So the body is now saying, I need to release these emotions because I'm trying to evolve and I'm trying to bring more light into my body. So I actually need to get this stuff out. So this is like totally discharging and releasing our emotions in order to evolve. So a part of what I do in my work with people is to help kind of midwife people through, or coach them through dealing with these emotions, and actually really feeling them and being okay with them and accepting them, and being there for themselves to hold themselves through these difficult emotions that they were never given the opportunity to express fully. And I mean, sometimes some of them are messy, some of them are hard, some of them are not pretty. But we go there, we go to those places because that's where we need to go in order to heal, because we need to accept ourselves in whatever state we are in. Otherwise, we are constantly pretending to hold on and be a certain thing and play a certain role for our twin, which is not true and authentic, it's fake. So, so this is quite a real video I'm doing here. I'm kind of trying to get this out there because it's what I see, it's what I've been through myself. I only talk about things that I've experienced myself, that I'm currently dealing with myself, or that I'm seeing in other people and helping them through. I only talk from a place where I am. Okay, so this is also hopefully a little bit of a pep talk as well, not to get despondent and lose faith and hope in this journey, because again, I see and feel and hear a lot of people saying, I've had enough, I'm over it, I'm done. What you're actually saying is that you're done because you're not getting the validation and what you need. You're not getting your needs met from outside of yourself. That's actually what's really happening. So that is the time when you're needing the most to come back into you and hold yourself. And because what you're saying is, my twin doesn't want to be with me, it's like having a bit of a tantrum, and I'm not getting the results, therefore this is dumb and I don't believe it anymore. So that is the time at the most when you're needing to love yourself, the most and come back into you and look after you. And I know it's hard, and we have a bit of a tantrum about that too, because it's like, oh, but I thought meeting my twin flame meant that I was going to be with the one for my whole life, and that was it. And when it doesn't happen, we throw another tantrum and we get upset and disappointed, because then we realize we have to do it for ourselves. And it's like, oh, I have to do it myself. That's kind of boring and dumb. But what actually happens when we are there for ourselves is that funnily enough, our twin comes closer. And yeah, so it's not really that hard. It can get hard, but it's not really that hard. One thing I wanted to say was I got a really cool sign today. I don't want this to go on for too long. It's just kind of a little few tidbits that I just wanted to throw out there today, just to keep us on track. That a song came through today, and I love the 80s. The 80s, such a cool music era. But what happens is often there are so many songs from the 80s to me that sound all kind of the same. And funnily enough, in the 80s, I didn't even like these songs. They were kind of pop music to me at the time. They were on the radio. And in the 80s, and when this song came out, 1984, I was about 12. Okay, so when I was that age, I was starting to kind of get into my bit of a rebellious time, and sort of not into pop culture. I was into kind of being a bit of a bogan, punky, sort of alternative, rebellious person who was more into kind of heavy metal music. Also because of the area that I grew up in New Zealand was full bogan. And so, yeah, so I was like, this kind of music I definitely didn't listen to. It was something I would have heard on the radio. So it was like, okay, there's an 80s song on the radio playing in my head right now, and I catch, a few lines of the song, but I'm always like, what is that song? So I put a couple of the lines into Google, and then it pops up, and I know that there's going to be a meaning in the lyrics. When it comes through like that, it's like total twin flame connection song. So I believe that this song is not only just for me, it's for all twin flames. And so I'm going to share the link below for you to go check it out. Some of you may know the song. It is kind of popular. So, oops, what's happened to my screen? I hope you're going to stay with me. I'm going to leave this link below. It's Heaven by Bryan Adams, and it's a way awesome song. And the lyrics are completely amazing and beautiful for twin flames, because basically it's like all about being in your lover's arms and being in heaven, and that even though since you've met them, your world's been turned upside down, and all these really like apt lyrics. Oh, sorry, that's our dog having a bit of a bark. I want to tie this up, but before I do that, I just wanted to say that I'm currently working on something that I'm hopefully going to bring out to you within the next week, and that is a twin flame online support group. Now, we've just recently held an activation which involved a group of us. It was a smallish group of about 20 or so, 20 to 30 of us that got together to do the activation ceremony at the Taj Mahal for twin flames. It was beautiful and energetic, and since I've done that, I've been getting a call and feeling a call to do more group work and to bring people more together and to do healing, to discuss. I've got an intention for how I want this to be, but it's just developing at the moment on how that format is going to be and how it's all going to kind of be structured. So I'm just working on finalizing that, but just throwing it out there as a seed for those of you that may be interested. It's a kind of more economical way, if you're on a bit more of a budget, to get some support. And to be around like-minded people and to gain energy. And but then also if you are wanting one-on-one sessions, I'm fully available for that right now. I have basically, since coming to India, left my job, left my home in New Zealand, and I've created a lot of space. I've been fully guided by spirit that this journey is in sort of for two reasons. One, I need to devote more time to spirit and to rest more and to get more downloads and upgrades and all these things so that I can support twin flames. And also I've got a lot more time on my schedule now available to have sessions with people and support. So, yeah, if you're needing that, please check out the links below. And in the meantime, I'm sending you out lots and lots of beautiful love and divine light from India and from my heart to yours. And yeah, I will be in touch with you all very, very soon. Okay, bye for now.